to the District 5 Neighborhood Advisory Council meeting for June 9th, 2021. We are going to do a roll call of attendees. Lemeria, can you please do the roll call?
Yes. Ms. Theo Webster. Kelly Simrat.
Present.
Karen Simasek.
Here.
Debbie Balashek. Louis Olgan.
Here.
Keith Constantine.
Here.
Cheryl Hamill.
Here.
Paul Conway. Janet Hommel. Anna Pepper.
Here.
Eugene Staccato.
Here.
Denise Lewis. Austin Ballet. And Sharon Rosen.
Thank you, Lemeria. Do we have a quorum of the council members?
What's your question? Sorry, Kelly.
Do we have a quorum? Do we have the majority of the council members here?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good deal. Okay, so let's call the June 9th meeting to order. And we will move to public comment. Is there anyone from the public that is here to speak?
Okay.
Hearing none, we'll move on to.
We have 5 people who are attendees. If they would like to speak, you could raise your hand. Should be, you have to give them instructions. I don't know if everybody knows.
Okay. I'm sorry, I can't see the attendees from my side of the screen.
Okay, that.
Let me see.
Yeah, maybe the best thing is if you want to speak right now, just go ahead because it's a little difficult to see on our little. I have a laptop and
Yeah, I can go through and unmute them and see if they want to say something one by one, because I'm not sure if they know where the raise the hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Juliet, I have you in first. Hi, Juliet, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Hi, would you like to provide a comment today?
I'm just a resident just trying to out in Wedgefield area and just wanted to find out what you were working on and doing. So interested in listening in.
Okay, great. Well, for the Wedgefield, because I see 2 people actually here that I recognize from Wedgefield. They are having HOA meeting tomorrow, just to let you know. They invited staff, Orange County staff, to give them an update on Flores and what's going on with that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm going to unmute the next person. Pam Wilson.
Yes, thank you so much. I live in Rivers Bend subdivision, and we were hoping to have you come to one of our meetings, an HOA meeting or just a community meeting, to discuss our concerns with the proposed change in land usage out here.
Okay. Well, just quick, if you just give me a next date of the HOA meeting.
Oh geez, I don't have it. I'm not actually on the board, but I can get it for you, and that would be wonderful to have. So do we get a hold of you or your scheduler or your assistant? Who would be best?
Yeah, if you go to my website, emilybonilla.com, there's a contact form on there, and you can put appointment request, and my agent will reach out to you. Or if, well, I don't want you to give me email, public record, people get it, but if you want to email my aide as well for her, email is
Okay.
lamaria.campbell@ocfl.net.
Wonderful, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. And I'm gonna mute Pam and unmute the next person, which is just AH. Hello, AH, can you speak?
Hello.
Hi. Hello? Hello? AH. Okay, I'm gonna mute AH. Move on to the next person, David Shepard. I'm unmuting now. Hi, David.
How are you guys? So I'm a Wedgefield resident for people that don't know me. I also work with the fire department as well. So just here kind of staying involved with the community. So
Hi, thank you. Okay. And anything else, or is that it?
Is that all the public comments?
Okay, David, I'm gonna mute you now and go to the next person, Kathy Saxon.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. This is the very first meeting I've ever attended, so I'm going to be a big observer to the process.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you to our first meeting, or to your first meeting.
Mhm.
Good to have you. All right, Kathy, I'm gonna mute you now. All right. Okay, that's everybody.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining us this evening. For those of you that are here and observing and listening, and just for you to know, the Neighborhood Advisory Council is recruiting community members to help join us and to conduct some projects that we'll actually be talking a little bit more about this evening, just in terms of trying to make a difference in our local community, a positive difference in our local community. So if anything is of interest to you this evening, please make sure that you follow up, and perhaps we can get you on board. So the next agenda item is approval of the minutes. And if you recall, during our last council meeting, we had a motion to move the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting to the end of the agenda. And then we had a very long meeting and we didn't actually approve those minutes. So we actually have two sets of minutes to approve. The first set of minutes was circulated, and they were for, let me go to my notes here. They were for May 4th is the first one, which was that first initial meeting where we kind of came in and we found out what is the purpose of the Neighborhood Advisory Council. We looked at the bylaws of it, and Lemuria circulated those minutes. They're also in the shared drive. So at this time, if there is no amendment to the minutes, we can approve. So do we have a motion to approve?
This is Cheryl Hamill. I motion to approve the minutes for May 4th.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, please say nay. Okay, the motion carries with all council members in approval of the May 4th minutes. The second set of minutes that we need to approve then is from May 19th. Those minutes pertained to our discussion in terms of how we drafted out kind of a problem statement, and we selected water quality in Orange County, and we looked at several different research questions that we could use to kind of preempt filling out that project statement worksheet that the commissioner has given to us to aim towards completing. So we need a motion to approve those minutes, or if there's amendments to please provide those.
Okay.
I'll motion to approve those minutes.
Okay, so a motion to approve the May 19th minutes, sorry. We need a second.
I'll second it, Eugene.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries. The May 19th, 2021 minutes are approved. Do we have any considerations of additions to the agenda from any of the council members? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Just a note so considerations of additions to the agenda, council members can bring those forward at any of the council meetings where, you have an idea and you want the council members to consider it. We can add it in as an addition to the agenda. So with that being said, I'm going to ask for an approval of the June 9th agenda for the Neighborhood Advisory Council District 5. Need a motion.
I'll motion it.
Who was that?
Heath.
Heath Constantine motions to approve. A second.
This is Cheryl Hamill. I second it.
Okay, all those in favor of approval of the agenda, say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Motion carries for the approval of the June 9th agenda. So reports of officers and work groups. We don't yet have any official officers and work groups established. So we will move on to the report of the co-chairs. During the last May 19th meeting, I provided an update regarding a property that was coming for a community meeting at Corner Lakes Middle School, June 28th at 6 o'clock for a property that is tucked or is bordered by the Grow, which was Lake Pickett South. The Grow is a development that has approximately 2,000 homes that are within it and some commercial space. We have now 48 acres that is coming available or is coming up for a proposal to develop it on 38 net developable acres because there's some wetlands that are in there. It's located near South Tanner and Highway 50, so kind of in between Avalon Boulevard and Chuliota Road 419. It's located in there. It has one ingress and egress to Highway 50. I don't know if you know, but Highway 50 is a F service level road. It is listed for improvements. I met with FDOT today with an organization that I'm involved with named Save Orange County. And we learned that even with the improvements to Highway 50, the road will remain an F. And they didn't yet have the Beardley property on their site plan because it's not been approved yet, so they don't know anything about it. So essentially what we need to have happen, there are many of us in the area that are traveling up and down Highway 50, and there's a lot of development that's in the area. When we talk about Highway 50, it's a state road, so they manage the updates to the road, but a lot of times Orange County is approving developments that the state road can't keep up with, and it creates poor quality roads for us to be traveling on. And it's disturbing to hear that an F service level road, that after the improvements that the state puts in, it will still be an F because of the forthcoming development that has been approved in the area. So that was just an update off of that. The first community meeting again is June 28th. There's 232 townhomes that are being proposed on that and 90,000 square feet of commercial. So it will be a very tight packed little development or big development within a big development. My second comment was in relation here to the Can you click on the hyperlink for number 2, Maria? It's the FDOT reviewing county comp plans. During the meeting today with FDOT, we brought this to their attention because it's actually an FDOT, Florida Department of Transportation policy that they released that was effective under our Governor Ron DeSantis, effective July 2019, where it says that FDOT would review local government comprehensive plans and amendments. And the 2 bullet points there is that the reason that they were justifying that they should was that they needed to be aware of the potential adverse impacts to transportation resources and or facilities of state importance, and the measures that the local government may take to eliminate, reduce, or mitigate those adverse impacts. And so when we met today, FDOT, the people that were responsible for the improvements between Avalon Boulevard and 419 were essentially, with respect to Orange County, they said, we get the information as it's already been approved. We don't get interaction from the county prior to seeking our counsel in terms of whether or not it's a good idea, or do we have it on our books to make improvements that could accommodate it. And so it's kind of like the chicken before the egg, like what happens first. And in FDOT's mind, Orange County should seek counsel. And I think maybe in Orange County's mind, Orange County doesn't, I don't know, Emily, you could speak more to it, but maybe they don't feel as though that counsel is required. I'm not sure. Maybe they believe that the procedures and protocols that are in place are a checks and balance system for that. I'm not sure, but today FDOT clearly indicated that there is more development that is being approved than what the infrastructure at the state level can support.
Yeah, Kelly, can I make a comment?
Yeah.
So if they're saying that, knowing full well that the legislature and the governor has made it very difficult for local authorities to say no to development because they decouple development from road and schools. So is DOT offering any thoughts of how you deal with this then?
Not today, not during the meeting today. I have learned that the FDOT I don't know if they're representatives or the project managers, they really have a tight scope. So like, for example, they're looking at a road segment from Avalon to Chuliota, and that's the scope. And so when you talk about, like a school in the area, things just fall out of the scope. Their job is that road. And so there's not a relationship to the other moving pieces in terms of policies or implications of the policies that happened, or impact fees was another discussion. So those things just fall out of the scope of at least the reps that we spoke to today. So.
Okay.
All right, this is Commissioner Bonilla.
Nope, you're breaking up.
Rural internet. So it says review of local government comprehensive plans and plan amendments. So in 2011, when they said that we couldn't make development decisions based on transportation or traffic capacity, that was in regards to zoning or other types of development reviews and decisions, but it doesn't cover comprehensive plans. So plan amendments, we could make a decision based on traffic to turn it down, to say no to it. I did have the understanding that FDOT was one of those agencies that we sent the transmittals to. So when we have a comprehensive plan amendment, we have two parts of it. It's the transmittal and then the final approval. The transmittal, after we approve the transmittal, then it goes to state government review and they send back their feedback. Kelly, from what you're saying, they're not part of that review?
No, they're not saying that they're not part of that review. They're saying that what they feel like should have, or what if they're looking for a solution for how they align the amount of development that is occurring to correspond with the roadway improvements that are available, that prior to the transmittal, that Orange County should technically, I guess, be reaching out and saying, this is on the table, what do you think? Or something along those, like that I think that they're saying that prior to the transmittal process, there needs to be some communication. But again, from Orange County's point of view, I think that they're, what you just said, that at transmittal level, that they should be one of the agencies that are reviewing the proposed development.
So, this is Eugene. If the county doesn't, maybe during that review of transmittal, this group starts studying the option, and maybe we develop a new policy that says something like, if you have F level service, you automatically aren't going to be considered. So that pretty much sets it down on the law. We don't have to consider it in comprehensive if we have F roads, which forces the developer either to figure out a way to fix it or just deflect them to someplace that doesn't have F roads. So we might need a new policy in the county to actually do this where we can. Any thoughts?
Is that something that can be implemented at a local level, or is that state level? I don't know, because it involves the state road.
But it affects local, so can't we do?
That would be county. We have our comprehensive plan, and that could be part of the policy.
Mm-hmm. It's sort of like a decision tree. If this, then go there. Otherwise, no. So, I mean, it's black and white. If it's an F, why are we allowing any development as a county? FDOT doesn't know the county, maybe, but the county should know the county.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we might want to do that as one of our things within this group to take on and say, because they only could do state roads. It doesn't stop us from doing no roads, which is not necessarily the thing I want, but we shouldn't be allowing F roads go down to, there's nothing below F. E? I don't know. But
no, there's no, today we clarified, there's no F1, 2, 3, 4. There's nothing. It's just an F. So
F means you're just basically your SOL when you get in there. You're just going to sit for 25 minutes.
Yeah, so it could be beginning to fail, or it might be failing for 10 years and you're in gridlock. It's all rated as a F. And just to understand I know not all of us are from this area, but with FDOT's improvements is what they're calling it, from Avalon to Chuliota, there are now 5 turning lanes and 1 new light. And the GROW is pushing for a second new light. So between Avalon and Chuliota Road, there's at least 1 light, maybe 2, but 5 turning points off of Colonial, which, makes for severe congestion during certain times of the day. And then it drives all the traffic to the rural roads, and then the rural roads fail. And
then on top of that, Kelly, that's Tanner Road eventually will be 4-lane or 6-lane. Same thing with Lake Pickett. So every road is leading down to State Road 50, which is a F road. So every road goes from an F to F, and so F squared.
True.
So I'm jumping ahead here, but doesn't that fall underneath some of the new business?
Yeah.
Some of the projects we're going to be talking about? Because this needs to be taken care of. We need to address this. I'm just wondering, do you feel that falls into those?
Yeah.
It does. I'm sorry. It's in my mind, so I want to get it on the notepad before we move down there, because we might forget it. I think this is important.
No, I'm just making sure it's not going to be forgotten and will be placed in some of those new projects so that we address it.
Yeah, I think this will interest people.
So that concludes my report. Eugene had some things that he wanted to bring up as well. Mary, could we go back to the agenda? Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, there was one other thing, and we don't really have to do it, but I just put it in the agenda just in case, because later today when we talk about the new business, the water quality problem statement, whatever new project we select and whoever is the subcommittee of that project will do another problem statement like the water quality one that we did last month in May. Okay, go ahead, Eugene.
Okay, so Kelly and I were thinking of things on project lists, and we know that the Sistania is coming back to haunt us up on north of on the Rybrook's property. And I thought the only way to really fix this is basically we have to buy the land as a community / state / St. John's, how we do it. So I had the thought of creating nothing better, call it the Econ River State Park. And it would be composed of that area north of Lake Pickett from the present, from the Econ out to State Road 419. And then north, we would work with our brethren up in the Seminole County and try to get them on board to potentially protect that land through the Clayton zone, which is where the, what was that? Dorworth's proposed. Yeah, he just got kicked out of court again, which he's been a pain up there for 5 years now. So I think we might have support up there. So I'm thinking this might be the thing that we need to do as a community to say, let's just buy the 8,000-9,000 acres and make it into a state park or like a Hal Scott, a regional park, whatever we want to call it. But it's under public ownership, which then gives us flood protection. It gives area for drainage. It gives a place where the bears can actually still live, and they do live there now, and all the other wildlife. It also provides an important resting spot as a corridor going from the South Florida region to the north region towards the St. John's, coming up the Econ River, because that is kind of like a corridor. Because if you go south from the area there, the next stop is Hal Scott. Then the next stop is for public land is Split Oak. So those properties, along with Moss Park and Crosby Marsh. So there's a number of large parcels that we own in the basin, along with the TM Ranch mitigation properties. The vision would be we just buy it and we end this debate, because this debate's been going on how many years now, Emily? About 7 or 8, 9. You know, so we just buy it. And I think this year is a very good year because we have $400 million in the state budget for endangered lands program. The mayor has announced a $10 million a year program to buy land. And we probably could talk to St. John's potentially. So I think between a number of agencies and state and local funds, we could actually put a plan together, at least a proposal to buy this. Of course, they need a willing seller, but that's why we as the citizens come in and we're very active to say we want this. And we're in the face of our elected officials and the developer. Like the historical thing that happened years ago was a place down south, down by Lake Mary Jane, where the Iowa Pine folks raised living cane about a large development of 400 acres right on their doorstep. We ended up buying that property because the developer basically got scared out of town by 800 really angry people. So I think this might be a thing that we might consider trying to work towards. And number B was someone, I forget the lady's name. She talked about a need of some type of community safe area park on the Circle K side out in Christmas. So if maybe a small group would like to form to start thinking about that, of what would be the needs, and then they could put a proposal together and then bring it back to the main council, and then we get it to the point where we massage it, we agree, and we bring it to Emily and she can move it forward. So that might be something that people want to do, because I'm aware there's a large park down the road that this county just built, but it's not really where the folks live out there. Most of the folks live on the south side of 50 out by the Circle K in Christmas. So that might be something folks might be interested. Next thing I can't see that C propose. Lamara, can you move that up a little bit? Okay. This is a concept of trying to get the development higher density along the Alafaya University area. Trying to get open up the community redevelopment area would be a place where zoning would be changed to induce much higher development, higher level, much taller buildings for student housing and other housing things that they need. So you try to concentrate the growth right by the university instead of what's happening right now. We're building student housing all down 50, which is just adding to more of the problem. I'm aware of the bus circulator and stuff, but that bus circulator has to go into F-grade roads. So if we can maybe create an environment that's more conducive to development right by the university and take down some of the older projects like the Haystacks and a couple other apartment complexes that of vintage of my day when I was at UCF back in 81. Take those down and build up 15, 20-story buildings, sort of like what the University of Florida BD towers look like. You're familiar with them. That's something else we could maybe think about putting a group of people to come up with a proposal. Okay, that's the D is kind of an extension of that. Okay, the 2050 vision, which is actually happening right now as we speak. They're doing. Do you want to talk about that, Emily?
So there's a Vision 2050, which had started back in 2017 by Mayor Jacobs to address some of the controversy that happened with the Lake Pickett developments. She didn't want that controversy and fighting between the commission and the residents, so she tried to come up with a better plan on how to do development that would be better and more consistent with the area that the development is happening in. So that's how that came about and started. It was called something else. It's kind of evolved into Vision 2050. And staff is doing all these town halls that they've been doing for a few months now. And there should be a website, and I'll see if the if they have the links of all the town halls on that website. They should have them, so that you could. I'm thinking if the council can go through those, watch them, and provide comments on what can be improved there. That way we make sure that the new comp plan, which will be the Vision 2050, would be something that really is going to accomplish what the residents really want to accomplish.
One of the things you said, Emily, when we were talking on the agenda development a few days ago, was 2050 is based on more of a marketplace concept, and because the way this evolved for the general, for the folks out there, was we were talking about urban service line versus the rural settlements, and that's when Emily said, well, this was actually more of a marketplace, because I was thinking as an old school guy that we need to establish urban service lines, which Orange County actually has never done. So they're moving on to something new that because something failed, but they never implemented the previous project. So I have a concern, but that's what I understand that the Vision 2050 is a marketplace concept where you create marketplaces, and that's how you do development. Right? So I think we need to learn more about it.
Yeah, so they're separating the county into different market areas. And so like in the rural east side, they're calling it the rural market area. And then they have the core, I forget what they're all called, all these areas. I think there's about 5 of them. And so in each one, they're going to have a set of rules of what the developers will have to follow in those areas. And then it's going to come down to even more of a smaller area and in a smaller area. So there'll be different different ways that the community is supposed to look. when they develop that's supposed to match the look of those market areas.
Emily, do you know if we're gonna put this in somehow in our charter and force the cities not to undercut us? Because that's what happened with the city of Orlando, undercut everything Orange County back in the late 90s and early 2000s. We had worked with the high-tech corridor with Linda Stewart, District 4 at the time, to create a high-tech corridor from UCF down to then there was this forested lands, but the Lake Nona area. And basically, since then, we've seen ICP bought by the Deseret folks, and they're turning that into residential. They're taking the cities, incorporating and annexing properties at like a cancerous situation, and they're just throwing all of our rules away that we had established and just doing whatever the developer sort of wants up down there. So that would be, you know, of course, I would need to go to 2050 and explain my concern, but this is a concern of mine that we've seen this happen before where the cities come along and just annex. It's like going to mom or dad, who's going to give me the right answer?
Okay, I actually found the website and they do have a page with all the recordings of all the meetings on it. So I'm going to put it here in chat for everyone. The
It's in chat, Emily. It's in the chat right now.
Okay.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you, Stacy.
Oh, it's in the chat. Okay.
Oh, wait, did everyone get this?
No, I didn't get everything. No, it's not to everyone. I don't see it.
Let's see.
I sent it to all attendees.
Oh, it just showed up.
All
That's
right,
Emily.
so that's the one with all the recordings, and I'm just gonna get the first page as well.
Nope. Sticky notes.
And that's the first page. So I don't know if you all want to do like maybe you know, if you want to pursue this, do a certain group of you who will work on it. Everybody, it's up to what you guys want to do.
So I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda. I'm sorry, item F here, where it says vote on a proposed project from this list. I'd like to amend the agenda to say vote on a proposed project from this list, or discuss to add additional projects, for example, like the F level service road, or any other ideas that anybody else would have. So I'd like to make that motion instead of voting from just these 5. Unless the whole group is happy with these 5 and doesn't want to incorporate.
So what are we looking at? Are we looking at choosing 2 projects, the water quality, and then one off this list?
Yeah. So
or do we have enough for 3 projects?
Well,
2 projects of 4 committee members, and then Eugene and I are going to float in between both groups.
Or Kelly, maybe what we do, since this is really maybe the second meeting we've had, maybe we put this and add, Lemuria can put this, add the things that we just talked about. And we had spoken about maybe doing a doodle guess on this, and maybe we add a other to that, and then we add the other and people vote on it. And we bring that list back for the next vote, because maybe we need 2 shots at this to get the thing correct, because once we start it, it's going to be a lot of work on any of these. So,
No matter what we do, Eugene, we have to make a motion to amend the agenda, because we've got F, vote on the proposed project list. So unless the group is you know, they're satisfied with these 5, we should amend that.
Kelly, do I hear you kind of thinking that the F road, Highway 50, is not included in any of these? So that would be one that if we change the agenda would be added?
No, it's not. So Karen, no, it's not about Highway 50. I just realized when I read letter F that I felt as though I didn't consider that people might want to provide discussion or other items. So I felt as though I was forcing a vote from the council, and I didn't want that to be. That's the.
Oh, okay. I don't feel like you're forcing a vote, but that's just one opinion.
Okay.
So is everybody pleased with those projects? Are those things that are of interest to the group, or does anybody want to propose something additional?
We're trying to they're all kind of good ideas, but we only want to focus on one of those because then our attention would be too spread out. Is that kind of what we're doing?
Yeah, so we would use the water quality one that we did last time. Lamary, can you click on that hyperlink that's up above that has the water quality problem statement? So so we had this one where it came from our May 19th meeting, where we had the purpose statement was that the Neighborhood Advisory Council takes an initiative to ensure that the quality of District 5 bodies of water are safe and healthy for residents and marine life. And then we had a couple of different problem statements that could be looked at in terms of the water quality of D5 lakes is not always healthy. There are pollutants that go into D5 bodies of water that negatively impact the water quality. Wetlands have been physically eliminated, filled in, and negatively impacted by the development and pollution. And these were all things that we did on the fly. So that whoever were to form into this group, if there was additional problems that you wanted to add to, you would add. And then we had some claims where we said, we're going to make a claim that if we did these educational programs for residents who live near bodies of water and had some awareness programs, and if we could prove the ecological benefits of wetlands, then maybe the mismanagement of them might be reduced. So we had some claims that we were making, and then we came up with some research questions. So because that one was already completed, we thought, okay, that's a good opportunity for a group of people, about 4 people, to take it and to run it and to begin doing the research, selecting one of those research questions or problems and kind of working on it. And then the other group could select from the other 5 items that were presented tonight. And then I would meet with that group if you guys would like me to, and do a problem statement worksheet like this, so that the information could then be populated to, you would have the foundation to then start using some of the document tools that Emily has given to us in terms of the project worksheet.
I have 2 questions. So are we really looking at 5 new ideas, or like Eugene said, C and D are somewhat related enough that perhaps they could be combined?
Yes, you're correct.
Okay, and then my second question, and not that I'm saying to throw water quality out, but the rights to clean water that passed as an amendment, does that cover some of this water quality issue? Would it be redundant? Or can you not do enough for the water?
You have one of the drafters of the bill right here, Eugene.
And one of the issues is we were preempted. So there is a court case that's going through the courts right now on a development down by 528, and until the case law builds up on my side, which is I support obviously the rights of nature, we can't really depend on that yet, because there's other issues that we would like to use it, but we decided not to move forward on it yet. So we got to see how that court case goes through the system. So that's that situation. So no, the rights of nature right now, unfortunately, was preempted by the state legislature.
I have a question on the sort of water quality for our area that we're working on. How does what we do differ from kind of what other kind of government agencies, such as the water management districts or like EPA? What will we be doing different than what, they're kind of already doing, those agencies? Or how can we add in that way?
Well, we could set community standards. They're looking from a permit, and permits allow you to pollute. That's what permits do. It's a permit to pollute. So what we're trying to do is establish some level of community expectations of what we want as a community. And we set the standards for what we want. And unfortunately, the way that the EPA and all those, they're all separate sets of policies and laws. They're all based on parts per billion and stuff. And none of them, from the rights of nature folks that I come from, none of it's working because everything's getting more dirty and more polluted. So something's broken. So what we're trying to do is maybe come up with a different way of trying to implement policies in Orange County to protect what is ours.
And we had some ideas that seemed like as though they were fairly simple to implement. For example, like, well, I don't know. I say it seems simple, but maybe it's not. Just doing something along the lines of like would District 5 residents be receptive to bagging their leaves instead of blowing them down the stormwater drains, right? In order to improve water quality. But and maybe they're not even aware that when you blow your leaves down the stormwater drains, that all of those nutrients and everything that was on those leaves is polluting the waterways. Or, would they be receptive, like I said, a way to, when somebody buys a home on a lake in Orange County, to provide within the purchase of the home, the paperwork that's there, an information sheet pertaining to how they can reduce their impact of pollution on the lakes. So
Yeah.
some low-hanging fruits on the tree that could make a difference, doing some things like that.
I
So
think.
one more question on the water quality. I'm sorry, Lewis, were you talking?
Oh, no. You can go ahead. I can.
Who would we target the water quality, what are we calling these projects to? Because like I'm coming from Maitland, where we probably are ahead of the game. So would we be looking a lot at like unincorporated Orange County? I'm asking because like if I don't feel like I want to feel like I kind of know the area. So who would we be targeting, like unincorporated Orange County lakes?
I think that would be up for whoever takes this project on, for them to define the scope of that. And, the group has the flexibility to adjust the questions or the problems. That was just an exercise we did last time just to help the ball start rolling.
One of the thoughts is, as you adjust the thinking, like you live in Maitland, the only way that we can affect cities and municipalities from a county standpoint, because everything we're talking about really is county oriented. But if you're in a city, unless we have a charter amendment that says it's applicable to everyone within the county, because that's the only place where we can actually implement policy within cities. It could be that you come out with a statement that we need to do a charter amendment of this to better the entire county, including the cities and municipalities. So we could put proposals together for that, and that could be moved forward to either the county commission or back to the next CRC that will meet in 2 years. So
I shared in the chat a couple of links that share some ongoing information about water quality. One of the links focuses on Lake Baldwin, but it's just an example. The point is that the Orange County Water Atlas covers the entire county, and there's opportunities to get involved if you want to be involved in water sampling. There's a Become a Volunteer link, and there's There's also training to be a volunteer, but as far as on the educational side, I think one of the things is the public is unaware of what measures are already being taken to protect the water. And because they don't know, they think nothing's happening, which is almost never the case. So I hope that you'll find those links helpful, and we can incorporate that into some of our plans on the water side.
Okay, so for the group, you know, that would embrace the water project, you know, they have the flexibility to do and to research and do all of those things. But what we need to do to kind of move things along is to select a second project. So, and being aware that our time is valuable and that to be involved in a group like this, we need to be working on something that we're interested in. Otherwise, it's not a fun volunteer effort. So first of all, do these topic areas, are we good to go on these topic areas? I think we should do like a thumbs, like, Luis, are you good? Eugene's good, I know. Karen, Anna, how do you feel about them?
Yeah, it's a good list. I guess for me, I obviously, since I do stormwater for a living, it would make sense for me to just do the water side. So I have less of an opinion about the second project.
Okay. Heath, I saw your thumbs up. Cheryl?
Yeah, I looked at the list. I'm on my little phone trying to flip between the list and then get back to WebEx. So yeah, I looked at the list and they were fine. I'd be interested in several.
Great. Denise? Denise, are you okay with them? Theo? Denise is good?
Yes.
Awesome.
Theo, you're muted.
No, that was Denise.
Okay.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
These are not projects that I would work on, but that doesn't mean somebody else can't.
Okay. Is that Theo? Theo, are there projects that you would prefer to see on the list? Is there something that you would suggest?
Theo, did you catch the conversation about the F policy that we played with earlier? It's not on this list, but I know you're in transportation in the league, so.
Well, I'm pretty knowledgeable about transportation. I was also wondering have you seen the Orange County Sustainable Operations and Resilience Action Plan, which has a water use and quality section in it. It was just adopted by the Board of County Commissioners. I think it would be beneficial for people to look at that and use it, because they're in the process with this Vision 2050 of revamping the comprehensive plan and incorporating a lot of things into the plan that weren't there before. So, you know, I don't want to duplicate what other county government agencies are working on, but I think we could look at those.
Yeah, for sure. The water group, the people that volunteer for that group would be able to look at the existing documents and those that are being currently adopted in order to kind of form some meaningful research questions and to do some meaningful research. So I think that would definitely be something that they would look at. But Theo, did you have any suggestions in terms of a different topic that you would like to see on the list?
Can you scroll up? I can't see the whole thing and I don't have it in front of me. So are we talking about the A, B, C, D, E, F?
Yes. So A would be raising money to purchase a large swath of land to ensure that to create another natural park to prevent mega development from occurring in a rural area. B was, I don't know what B was. C and
Scroll up again, it was right there, isn't it?
Community park for Christmas. That's a very localized thing.
yeah, so the community park, and then C and D were related to one another to drive development and growth towards a corridor that is designed for higher densities. And then the other group was to look at the Orange County Vision 2050 and actually determine if it accomplishes what the people want to have happen within the area.
Yeah, that Vision 2050 is going to be very comprehensive. I mean, it touches on all the existing building codes and a lot of other things. It's a lot of stuff in that 2050.
Mm-hmm. There is, but each project group will be able to carve out a small niche area that they want to concentrate on. So otherwise, the projects can become quite overwhelming.
I don't have another project to suggest. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to continue with this council because of other responsibilities. So I don't want to stick something in there and then somebody else has to follow through with it.
Okay.
The pitch for my A project was I'm trying to deflect some of the transportation and growth issues by just buying that property. And that's why I proposed that one. Because I know the community is going to get really upset when that project comes in the next month or two. So.
Okay, well let's decide on a second project. So you guys, what would you like? So we've got A is looking at doing some research to come up with some creative revenue streams and feasibility of really purchasing that large swath of land that's along the Econ River to keep it natural. The other is the community park for Christmas residents. And then we've got C and D, we can tuck them together, which is the proposal of a community redevelopment area, and then the Orange County Vision. Is there anyone that we can all agree I mean, how do you want to proceed? Do you want to look at each one? Do you want to cross them off the list? What would you like to do?
So you just want to select 2 out of all of these?
Just to begin with, because there's only 10 total members on the council. So we figured if we did groups of 4, that you know, we could accomplish some low-hanging fruit for each of these topic ideas.
Well, I would think that you would need to cover the Orange County Vision 2050 because that's going to be in place probably by the end of the year. So if you want to do anything around that, it needs to be done now.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's going to happen that fast, Theodore?
Yes, I do.
I agree with Theo.
Do any other council members have a?
I was pretty fond of trying to go about purchasing that property. I don't know, I think conserving, you know, the natural state of something, I think kind of goes high priority. We were going to focus on something. And also, you know, you guys listed that there was already kind of funds that were set apart by, I think we said the mayor or I don't know. I was pretty fond of that one. I feel like that would maybe have a pretty decent chance. I don't know. The other ones I feel like the Orange County Vision 2050, I kind of have no concept of that. The Bithlow Park, I also don't have any concept of. But I would put the conservation above that one. I really like the UCF. Yeah, it's definitely, they have urban sprawl there, and I think you know, it is a college, so I think it maybe should be more college-like, you know, with, you mentioned Gainesville, University of Florida, it's more concentrated. They've been having a lot of development sort of within that little core student
Mhm.
area that versus UCF does not have that. It's not very walkable at all, like as a
Yeah.
university. So it's all traffic based, even to go to any restaurants, bars, they all have to drive through as well, or they go downtown. There's really not sort of this like concentration of in that area, just more urban sprawl that's starting to go into 50 with all the apartment complexes going in that area as well, or student housing. But yeah, that's my feedback. But if I had to choose one, I would say um, purchasing the property. But I think they're all good ideas as well.
Okay.
May
Anyone
I
else?
give you mine? May I give you my choices? This is Cheryl.
Mhm.
You ready?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I kind of agree with the person who just spoke. I really like the idea of buying land, and I know there's a group, Nature Conservancy, you may be familiar with, and you can get them to cooperate in buying land sometimes if they like the project for whatever reasons. And then I also like the idea of the UCF area going up rather than out. And that whole, you know, aspect of the Alafaya, crossing Alafaya, you're putting your life in danger all the time. So they need to really change that whole concept. So I like those two. They're my favorite as well.
Mhm.
Eugene, I had a question. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
With the UCF, how is that different than like zoning? Or is it like we'd be proposing zoning changes? Is that what's the idea kind of behind that?
It would be up to the committee that's meeting on it, but I would see it as almost like a policy. And I mean, Emily can speak more to the policy, but basically you're setting up the policy and a land use overlay for the area and saying that this is a high density area from this point, basically drawing a line around the place and saying, these are the things that can happen here. And it's like it's a, what do they call it? A community development area. So in that area, you can define a whole new set of instructions, what is allowed and not isn't allowed. So
So it's
yeah,
zoning just kind of specifically for this area? Like how is
it
that?
would
I'm a little
Yeah, so Eugene, I'll jump in to try to explain.
okay, go ahead, Emily. It gets
So
complicated.
it's two parts. So one is the CRA, which is a funding mechanism. So it will allow for funding to be raised to be spent in that area for redevelopment. Because we've had an issue with affordable housing for students, and there's no funding whatsoever for affordable student housing. So this could help subsidize some affordable student housing that will be closer to UCF that can solve some of the traffic problems and issues that we're having and the sprawl. And then you have the zoning policies, which will be in that area. So in Orange County, what we do, we call it kind of like study areas or policies that we have for certain locations on what kind of development's going to happen in that location. And with Vision 2050 also, that area, which I'm calling the University Corridor, but I'm the only one calling it that at this moment, that could be like a market area within the Vision 2050.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm really surprised that's not in the marketplace because there's a huge amount of money and investment in that one area and a lot more potential. So, Louis, I guess it's going to be multiple layers of stuff. It's going to be the CRA, it's going to be policy. It will implement, if we actually get everything through, eventually would be zoning down to that, saying what you can and can't do and how high you can go. And, you know, maybe we could create incentives for developers to do things that would be even more intense if we choose it as a policy, as a county. So there's a bunch of things that we can propose and think about. And that's what that group would do, is look at, and maybe we could get use of a planner at some point and they could come and educate us on what can and can't be done. You know, those two things I proposed, I was trying to deflect all the growth issues because most of the growth is coming down 50 from UCF. And a lot of the pressure I'm seeing as an environmentalist out there is there's a lot of pressure to try to develop east of the econ because of the housing issues by UCF. And we've allowed pretty low density things to happen near UCF where they're building 2 and 3, 4-story buildings instead of 10, 12, 14-story. So it's just, we can do better. And that's what this group would do, is look at the proposed use of those lands and come up with a whole new proposed use. And maybe it gets to the 20, 50 people and say, you know, you guys need to look at this and call it a development university corridor marketplace. The land purchasing that I'm talking about, I think is a good way. I think personally, economically, it's better to buy undeveloped land, turn it into a park than put in a bunch of subdivisions, because historically, it would be surprising, but homes typically don't pay enough money in taxes to actually get all the services that they do get. And only businesses make up the difference, and they get heavily taxed. So if we deflect and actually put a state park there or a large park, it actually potentially per square foot generates more revenue than a housing development does, because all the costs associated with putting, 10 homes per acre and all the building that needs to happen to support those folks, schools and police service and fire services, and new roads and maybe new bridges and stuff. So that's why I'm proposing that. I think long term, to have a Wekiva-like state park by you is a lot better than having the econ subdivision.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would advocate, and I think there is money available, but the key thing is community involvement and squeakiness, because squeakiness I've found over the years does work.
Yeah.
So,
Keith, do you have a project preference?
I do.
Keith.
I'd like to preserve that land on the river.
Okay.
I think that's awesome.
Karen? Okay, great. Karen?
Well, I think all of these are worthy and should all be pursued. However, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like all of them already have some people working towards these goals except for C and D, and that we could really start something with C and D that would make a major impact on the rest of the county. Is that kind of correct? I mean,
no, there's nobody working on A, so that land is
so some of the Nature Conservancy and the local land trust have not even considered this land.
No, nothing's been considered yet. That was a free thinking thought out of my head, and knowing that this property is coming up, Kelly told me that it's coming up public hearing, or correct me, Kelly, there's a public hearing of some type coming up for Stania, and it's coming back to haunt us again.
Yeah.
And the thing I get tired about this, because I've been doing this for 30 years. I keep on seeing these developers coming back with great new ideals every time. And then all the citizens of the area have to get up and raise living Cain to try to deflect it again. And it happened back in the late 80s and 90s. And we fought like hell about it on the Econ River. It's now called the Econ State Forest. We end up buying that property. We lost the 3 of the properties, one of which is on Longwood, but you have a canoe launch there. That's what we won in court. So that's the type of stuff that you end up doing. If you go to court, you're going to get a little piece of land, which on the Econ in Seminole County, we end up with a couple things. One was a state forest, and we also enacted in Seminole a 1,200-foot setback with the Econ Protection Zone. Orange County doesn't have the exact same thing. So my thing is, is just to buy the land, get it and put it in public ownership, and we won't have a new developer coming back because now it's owned by us, the people.
Mhm.
So it just
Well-
ends the conversation.
Do we have to only choose one from this list?
No, we can definitely revisit the list, but for the purposes of manpower and getting a project rolling, you know, we'll keep this list. We'll cross the ones off that we can accomplish, and we'll add to it other ideas that come up over time, and then we can revisit the list and keep going. But for now, I think it's best if we just have 2 projects going.
Okay, so I guess my vote would be C and D with the knowledge that I think A is something that we can accomplish maybe even outside of this. Like I would be willing to put in the extra time to find the funding and to find the land trust to buy that land. I mean, these A, C, and D to me are crucial.
Okay.
For A, I shared a link in chat for a funding resource. That entity is a collaboration between 8 different counties, which is really ideally for something like what you're talking about, where it spans multiple entities.
Mhm.
So please please check that out if who's ever moving forward with the land purchase.
Did you send it to everybody? I didn't get it yet.
Yeah, I sent it to everybody.
Is that in the chat?
Sorry, can I interrupt
Yes.
just real quick? I'm trying to create a poll here that I could probably send out, but I don't see what A is. Lamary, could you scroll down?
A is the purchase of the LPN
The Econ property,
and the Clayton property in Seminole to create a proposed Econ River State Park.
I mean, I think I'm a pretty heavy advocate, obviously, for that A, because I think we have a lot of people in Seminole County, and you all know them too, that we could get a really good coalition. And this organization that we have here could actually act as some of the research that needs to happen in it. Oh,
Eugene, have you spoken to, I know in the past, the League of Women Voters of Orange and Seminole have joined forces. Have you brought this to their attention?
I'm a member of the League Conservation Group. So, yes, I've spoken. I know everyone involved, so I've talked to a few people. Are you a member too? Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to Kate about it. Ann already knows about it, and I'll talk to Gabby and them up in Seminole about it.
So while Emily finishes the poll, Denise, did you have any insight as to what group might interest you before we do a poll?
Oops.
Denise? You're on mute if you're talking, I'm not sure. Okay, so she'll get the poll. And then Theo had indicated that she may or may not, I guess, choose one of the projects. I see the poll in the chat.
Yeah, I was able to select one thing. Are we supposed to select 2 things?
Well, so no. So if you want to be in the water quality group, please don't vote because the water quality doesn't appear on this list. So if you'd like to be in the water quality, like I know that Anna Pepper was interested in the water, then Anna, please don't select from this list. So if you want
Okay,
to,
I wish I'd known that. Sorry, ignored my vote then.
Yeah,
so,
I just thought this was just, just to pick what the second one would be. I don't know.
Yeah, I
guess-
thought it wasn't, even if you're not on it, which one we should choose.
okay, great. All
Well,
right,
we're
let's
supposed
do
to
it
pick-
that way.
Yeah,
Let's do it that way. That's a good idea.
yeah,
Okay.
2 things. We get to choose 2 things.
No, one, right, Eugene? One.
Yeah,
One is
because we have,
water.
from this list, so we're gonna have the water one and whatever one gets the most votes on this, and then
Yeah, 'cause we
you
have
can
no-
choose which one you want to sit.
Yeah, so you only
Yeah.
choose one out of this list because we've already chosen the water. So out of this group of four, what do you want to do?
Eugene, how many acres is that that park proposing? You know?
I would say the Orange County side, we own about 700 in the Sand Hills, I think. But then there's another 4,000 on Ride Boat that we don't own. And it's about 4,500, I believe, on the Clayton side. So I need to go and look at the property appraiser and look at detail.
so about 8,000 to 9,000 acres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
pretty
it's
good.
on
chunk of land.
it's on the river.
Yeah, it's probably, what would you say, a mile of riverfront between Orange and Seminole on that or more?
Okay, the poll has 1 minute 40 seconds left. There's 6 people who still hasn't voted.
Again, you're just voting for selecting the second project. You're not signing up for it. You're just voting for the second project.
Excuse me, I can't get to that poll because I'm only on audio. This is Cheryl. So could you just take my vote verbally?
You can send Emily a direct, oh, that's right. You don't have the chat
Oh,
either.
yeah, she could just tell us, and then we'll just.
Okay, I want to vote for the UCF. Whatever one that is.
Kelly, do you happen to? That's a mess right now. I can't find my Post-its.
Yeah, I do have a pen and paper. So I have Cheryl recorded as the CRA, letter B as in boy.
Okay.
Oh, it looks like it's the polls also open to the attendees. Just noticing. All right. Yeah, so out of the council members, so we just had an attendee vote, which is kind of cool to get some.
Oh, maybe they'll be willing to
Besides-
sit on the board with it. We're looking for volunteers, so we never say no.
Yeah, I did out a chat to all the attendees too, that if they want to join to email Lemeria.
Yeah, because I mean, one of our tasks is to find more people. Well, we're limited by the number of people. That's why we only are doing 2. We don't want to overwork people too much. These are big subjects to be tackling. So to do the job right, we got to limit until we get more people.
We have more people, we can pick another project as well. Maybe another 4 people.
Okay, so the poll closed. Sorry, I had a. Okay, so the results were from the poll in the system here. Was purchase the state park was 8. The University Corridor was 1. Vision 2050 review is 1, and Christmas Park was 1.
Okay.
So it looks like overwhelming purchase the state park.
Okay.
So what you got verbally? What was that one again? That was a UCF, right?
I'm sorry, Emily.
Yeah, Cheryl's was verbal and it was the UCF order.
So that was 2 votes for that.
Okay, so then there was 2 votes for that. So first came in was a state park, and second was the university.
So, and we can revisit, I mean, like I said, this is just 2 projects to get it going, and then, we can move on to other projects as well, so.
Okay.
Okay. So we voted on the project from the agenda. Mary, can you scroll down to the so one of the things that the commissioner informed us is that anything that needs funding needs to be completed by the end of August, which gives us a couple of months to get to find like the grants or the funding mechanisms for some of the projects that we would be doing. We're still trying to recruit new council members. So we have some people that are on the line. We need additional help so we can do more projects. And then we had the next meeting date for the council, which will be a forthcoming doodle poll to sign up for the month of July. And then I think what we should do is maybe send out a
Doodle.
survey where like people can sign up for the groups. So I'll do with Eugene a project description of each of or description of the topic. And then we can send those out and people can sign up for the groups. And then for the next meeting, what we can do is we can have a condensed council meeting agenda and have the two groups split off so that they can talk about where they'd like to go with their projects.
Kelly,
Yeah.
as a suggestion maybe is if we do like a doodle or something on what things people want to do, either A or B, once we get the people in A or B, we could do it through email and stuff and say, here are the people part of it, and then you and I will do a doodle of what time would you guys like to meet in the next few weeks to set up the structure for your subcommittee. So we get things rolling along because some of these things are happening pretty quickly. So we want to jump on this.
That would be great. So yes, so we can do that. So we'll have a forthcoming doodle poll for the whole council, and then we'll send out the survey to for the interest for the sign up. And then once we have those groups formed, we can send an email to those group members to see when they want to do a subcommittee group to get the kickoff going on the project. Does that recap everything?
Yeah. Yeah. And you and I will talk.
Yeah.
Next day or so. And
yes.
we'll get going.
Awesome.
So we got everyone's emails, correct? Or how we could. So how about the new people? We got any of the new people that voted? If you vote,
yeah, we got all the emails. Those who registered, who are guests, I should have their emails too if they registered and they provided that information.
Yeah. I don't mind sending it out to them, and if they're interested, they're certainly welcome to come and join the group. And
do you want me to see if any of them would like to speak? Let me just have too many windows open here.
Okay, so we got through everything. We got Wally. So yeah, I mean, typically in my meetings, I always ask the public to say something at the end if they have any more input. So if you want to do that, Kelly, and see if people have anything more to add, things that we need to think about.
Yeah, that'd be great. Does anybody have anything else to add? Want to contribute? Statements?
Go ahead and speak. Anyone?
Any of the attendees that listened in tonight?
Yeah, I could go ahead and unmute them quickly to see if they want to say anything. I'll start with Juliet again. Juliet, you're unmuted. Would you like to say something?
I guess it's informative. And yeah, I'll keep attending the meetings just to get more information. But yeah, and I'm interested in the 2052, so I'll look into that as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Pam, you're unmuted.
Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed the meeting and I would love to get involved.
Yay.
Okay. You'll be getting a doodle.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so Lemeria, just note that down so you could reach out to Pam. Okay, thank you, Pam. I'm gonna mute you now and go to the next person. Kathy, you're unmuted.
I it was very, very interesting. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever attended any kind of a council meeting. So I found it really informative. And I just need a little bit more before I would commit to something, but I am interested somewhere down the road in utilizing my time to help the council.
Great, thank you, Kathy. Look forward to seeing you next time.
you.
Okay, muting Kathy and unmuting David. Hi, David, you're unmuted.
Hi. Obviously, I'm interested in being more involved with the council. When the poll came out, I wasn't exactly sure what we were voting on, so my vote was probably an outlier.
Back at the
But I tried to send an email to Lemuria of an interest in joining the council if you guys are recruiting volunteers. And that's pretty much all I have.
Okay, great, David. Thank you for volunteering. So Lemuria will reach out to you as well. Thank you. All right, I'm muting you, David. Okay, all right. Back to you, Kelly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. All right, so we have some action items that we'll be following up with the doodle poll for the next council meeting, a survey for everybody to sign up for the group that they are interested in, and then another doodle poll will go out individually to those people that sign up for the groups, just so that we can have a kickoff meeting for each of the projects. And that's it for tonight. So
Okay, can I just make a couple announcements?
Of
Sure.
course.
Right. So I do have the back to school event coming up. We do need donations for backpacks. If you go to the Facebook page, and make it also volunteering her all the time. For donations, you just go and then they mail us the backpacks and then we give them out the events. Also looking for volunteers for the backpack events. We kicked off our Roku channel, which I'm really excited about. So our first episode for Emily Tells All has been posted. It's also on a YouTube channel, and our next episode is coming out tomorrow. So it's moving along. So it's very informative. People are really liking it and learning a lot. So they're like, wow, I didn't know that. So it's just exactly the reaction I've been looking for. So yeah, so please share the talk show, the YouTube channel, the Roku channel with everybody as well. That's all I got.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn the June 9th meeting.
I second the motion. Cheryl?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. Motion carries. So we adjourn for the June 9th meeting. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and you'll be getting some follow-up from us soon. Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
meeting. Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Productive.
Good night.
Night.
Good night. Good night.